They don't pull away because you did something wrong. They don't go silent because they stopped caring. They withdraw because closeness feels dangerous. And the harder you chase, the faster they run. It's not rejection. It's survival. It's the science of attachment. When someone you love starts pulling away, your instinct is to move closer. You call. You text. You try to explain. You ask if something's wrong. Your chest feels tight. Your stomach drops. Your mind won't stop spinning. Did I say the wrong thing? Did I push too hard? Did I do something to ruin it? The silence feels unbearable. So you reach out again. Not because you're weak. Not because you're desperate. But because closeness is how you calm the storm inside. For you, connection feels like oxygen. It's what steadies your nervous system. It's what makes love safe. But for them, closeness feels like fire. And the moment you lean in, they lean out. This is the painful mismatch between anxious and avoidant attachment. You sense distance and move forward. They sense closeness and move back. It's not that they don't feel anything. It's not that they don't care. It's that intimacy sets off alarms in their body. You see vulnerability as love. They see vulnerability as risk. You open up to feel safe. They close down to feel safe. And when you chase, you unknowingly trigger their deepest survival reflex. Imagine this. You send a second message, then a third. You just want to hear back. You just want reassurance. They see the notification light up on their phone. Instead of relief, their chest tightens. Their throat closes. Their thoughts start racing. I can't handle this. They want too much. I need space. So they don't reply. Or they reply with one-word answers. Or they disappear altogether. And you're left feeling invisible, unworthy, too much. But what actually happened is this. Their nervous system read your love as pressure. And pressure felt like threat. Avoidants didn't learn this as adults. It started long before they knew what love was supposed to mean. Many grew up in homes where emotions were overwhelming, where their needs weren't met consistently, where closeness wasn't soothing. It was smothering, or unpredictable, or unsafe. So they built armor. Armor that whispered, don't get too close. Don't rely on anyone. Don't need too much. And as adults, that armor still lives inside them. Now when someone leans in with love, their body reacts like it's under attack. Fight, flight, freeze, withdraw. It's not logic. It's not choice. It's survival. This is the pursuit-withdrawal cycle. The more you pursue, the more they retreat. The more they retreat, the more you pursue. Round and round it goes, until both of you are exhausted. Both of you are hurt. Both of you feel misunderstood. You wonder if you weren't enough. They wonder why love always feels like too much. And here's the cruel paradox. The more you love them loudly, the more they feel the urge to escape. The more you demand closeness, the more they cling to distance. It's not because they want to hurt you. It's not because your love isn't valuable. It's because their body is wired to confuse intimacy with danger. That's why chasing never works. Because to you, chasing means I care. But to them, chasing means I'm losing control. Your closeness doesn't soothe them. It scares them. And so they run, not from you, but from the ghost of every moment closeness once hurt them. But here's the truth you need to hear. This cycle is not about your worth. It's not proof you're unlovable. It's not proof you're too much. It's the echo of their wound. It's the old story their nervous system keeps replaying. You didn't cause it, and you can't cure it by chasing harder. And yet, when you stop chasing, something unexpected begins to happen inside them. Their body, which was screaming for space, suddenly meets silence. And in that silence, they feel something they didn't anticipate. They feel your absence. And it hurts. Because distance may calm their alarms, but it awakens a loneliness they've spent their whole lives trying to bury. Why withdrawal feels safer than closeness? To understand the avoidant, you have to stop thinking in logic. You have to think in survival. Because withdrawal isn't about preference. It's not about choice. It's not even about what they want. It's about what feels safe. And for the avoidant, closeness doesn't feel safe. Distance does. Think of it like this. When a child grows up with love that feels conditional, or overwhelming, or absent, their nervous system learns a brutal lesson. Needing gets you hurt. Maybe they reached for comfort and were ignored. Maybe they showed sadness and were told to toughen up. Maybe love only came when they performed, behaved, achieved. The child learns. If I lean in, I'll be let down. If I open up, I'll be shamed. If I depend on someone, I'll be abandoned. So they stop leaning. They stop opening. They stop depending. They build a wall inside. And behind that wall, they teach themselves to survive without closeness. Fast forward to adulthood. Now someone cares about them. Someone wants to love them deeply. Someone offers the intimacy they once longed for. And what happens? The wall shakes. The alarms blare. Their body whispers the old truth. This is dangerous. Don't let them in. Stay safe. So they withdraw. Not because they don't feel, but because feeling threatens the system that has always protected them. Withdrawal, for the avoidant, is relief. Distance calms their pounding heart. Silence quiets the noise in their mind. Alone, they can breathe again. While you sit in pain, wondering why they left, questioning your worth, they sit in stillness, telling themselves they had no choice. Because for them, closeness doesn't regulate. It destabilizes. Withdrawal isn't punishment. It's self-protection. Here's the paradox that hurts to see. The very thing that could heal them, your love, your closeness, your care, is the very thing that feels unbearable. And the very thing that wounds you, their silence, their distance, their withdrawal, is the very thing that soothes them. It's opposite worlds. It's mismatched wiring. It's survival patterns colliding. Now, imagine this moment from their perspective. You reach out with warmth. They smile, they soften. For a second, it feels safe. But then, the warmth gets too close. Their chest tightens. They remember without remembering. The body takes over. They pull back. They distract themselves. They disappear. Not because they stopped caring, but because care feels like pressure. Love feels like risk. Intimacy feels like exposure. And exposure is the one thing they cannot tolerate. So why does withdrawal feel safer? Because safety, for them, has never been found in closeness. Safety has always been in self-reliance, in walls, in silence, in control. Love asks them to surrender those defenses. Love asks them to risk being seen. Love asks them to need someone. And for a nervous system built on never need, never depend, that feels like standing on the edge of a cliff. Withdrawal is stepping back from the edge. It's choosing the known discomfort of loneliness over the unknown terror of intimacy. And here's where so many people get trapped. You think, if I just show them more love, they'll finally feel safe. So you try harder. You reassure them. You give more. You stay patient. You wait. But the more you lean in, the more the walls rise. Because love, offered too loudly, feels like pressure to them. And pressure confirms their oldest fear. If I let you close, I'll lose myself. Withdrawal feels safer because it keeps the self intact. They may feel lonely, but loneliness feels manageable. They may feel disconnected, but disconnection feels familiar. Closeness, on the other hand, feels like losing control. It feels like being swallowed. It feels like disappearing. So when faced with the choice, they choose loneliness over love. Because loneliness hurts, but it doesn't terrify. And here's the heartbreaking part. Avoidants don't withdraw because they want to destroy relationships. They withdraw because withdrawal is the only way they know how to survive relationships. And in that survival, they miss the very thing their heart secretly longs for: connection. Because behind every avoidant wall, there is still a child who once wanted to be held, who once wanted to be chosen, who once wanted to feel safe and loved. But the wall became their safety, and now the wall keeps them apart. That's why chasing doesn't work. Because when you chase, you're not breaking down the wall, you're reinforcing it. Your pursuit confirms their fear. Love means losing space. Love means being trapped. Love means danger. And so they retreat deeper, not away from love, but away from fear. The cost of running from love. On the surface, withdrawal looks like peace, calm, control, relief. But under the surface, the cost is heavier than they ever admit. Because when you run from love, you don't just escape closeness. You also escape the very thing you've always needed. The first cost is loneliness. Not the chosen kind, but the hidden kind. The kind where you're surrounded by people, but no one really knows you. The kind where conversations stay shallow, because depth feels dangerous. The kind where you smile in public, but ache in private. Loneliness isn't the absence of people. It's the absence of being known. And avoidants pay that price daily. The second cost is misunderstanding. Others see their silence as rejection, their withdrawal as coldness, their distance as indifference. But what it really is fear. Fear of being hurt, fear of being shamed, fear of being too much, fear of being not enough. But fear rarely looks like fear. It looks like anger. It looks like detachment. It looks like I don't care. So they get misread, misjudged, misunderstood. And every misunderstanding reinforces their belief. See, no one gets me. Better to stay hidden. The third cost is stalled growth. Because growth only happens in connection. We learn who we are through relationships. We expand when we're mirrored. We evolve when we're challenged. But when you run from closeness, you cut yourself off from the mirror. You stop being reflected. You stop being stretched. The avoidant protects themselves from pain, but in the process, they protect themselves from transformation. They stay safe, but they also stay stuck. The fourth cost is regret. They may not admit it in the moment. They may convince themselves they're better off alone. But in the quiet hours, when no one's watching, when the distractions fade, when the silence grows heavy, regret creeps in. Regret whispers, "What if you pushed away the one who truly cared? What if you'll never feel what your heart secretly longs for? What if the walls you built for safety are now the prison keeping you from life?" Regret doesn't scream. It lingers. It haunts. It lives in the background of every choice to withdraw. The fifth cost is love left unrealized. Every time they pull away, they miss the chance to experience intimacy. The kind of intimacy that doesn't just soothe, but heals. Because love has the power to rewrite old scripts, to soften old wounds, to teach a nervous system that closeness can be safe. But when you never stay long enough, when you never let someone close enough, love never gets the chance to do its work. And so the avoidant keeps carrying the same story. Love is pressure. Closeness is danger. Distance is safety. A story that could have been rewritten, if only they'd stayed. But perhaps the deepest cost is the loss of self. Because the self is not built in isolation. The self is shaped in connection. When you withdraw, you're not just keeping others out. You're keeping parts of yourself in. The part that longs to be held. The part that wants to be vulnerable. The part that craves intimacy. Those parts stay hidden, buried, dormant. And a life without those parts isn't a full life. It's a half-life. Withdrawal protects them from pain, but it also protects them from joy. It shields them from rejection, but it also shields them from acceptance. It keeps them safe, but it keeps them small. And the tragedy is this: most avoidants don't realize the cost until it's too late, until the relationship is gone, until the opportunity has passed, until they're left with the silence they once craved and find it empty. Because here's the truth no wall can hide. We are wired for connection. We are built for love. We don't thrive in isolation. And while withdrawal may win the moment, it loses the war. It keeps them safe for a night, but it starves them for a lifetime. That is the hidden cost of running from love. A cost measured not in dollars, not in possessions, but in moments missed, hearts lost, lives unlived. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You realize withdrawal doesn't save them. It robs them, not of survival, but of the very thing that makes survival worth it. Why chasing makes them retreat further. Chasing feels natural. When someone pulls away, your instinct is to move closer. You want answers. You want reassurance. You want connection restored. So you reach out. You call. You text. You explain. You plead. But here's the paradox. The more you chase, the further they run. To the avoidant nervous system, closeness feels like pressure. Even when your intention is love, their body hears demand. Every "I just want to understand" becomes "I'm being cornered." Every "I miss you" becomes "I'm losing my space." Every step you take toward them feels like a step of threat to them. Not because you're wrong, not because your love isn't real, but because their wiring has equated closeness with danger. Imagine living with a nervous system that misreads care as control, affection as intrusion, love as a trap. That's the reality for the avoidant. So when you chase, you unknowingly activate that alarm. And the alarm doesn't whisper. It screams, "Get away, run, hide, protect yourself." That's why chasing never works. Because it's not just about the words. It's about what their body feels. And their body feels danger. This is why many avoidants retreat even harder. The more love you show, your pursuit confirms their worst fear. If I let someone close, I'll lose myself. So they don't interpret your chasing as love. They interpret it as proof that their walls are necessary. They don't see devotion. They see threat. They don't feel wanted. They feel cornered. The cycle is painful. You chase because you care. They withdraw because they're scared. You chase harder because you feel rejected. They withdraw further because they feel trapped. Round and round it goes. A dance of pursuit and retreat. A dance where no one wins. Because you feel abandoned. And they feel suffocated. But why does chasing hurt them so deeply? Because at its core, chasing confronts their deepest wound. The fear of being consumed. Many avoidants grew up in environments where boundaries weren't honored, where emotions were overwhelming, where their needs were ignored or shamed. So they learned early. Closeness equals danger. Independence equals safety. When you chase, you unknowingly replay that wound. You step into the role of the overbearing parent, the critical caregiver, the suffocating figure from their past, and their nervous system responds. The only way it knows how. By retreating. It's not about you. It's about history. But history lives in the present, which is why your pursuit feels like pressure, and their retreat feels like rejection. And neither of you are wrong, but neither of you get what you need. The tragedy of chasing is that it keeps both people locked in pain. The anxious partner feels abandoned. The avoidant partner feels invaded. One longs for closeness. The other longs for distance. And the harder each pushes for what they need, the more the other resists, until the relationship breaks under the weight of unmet needs and misunderstood signals. So what's the alternative? It's not about abandoning the avoidant. It's about stepping out of the cycle, recognizing that chasing doesn't create closeness. It creates distance. Recognizing that the more you push, the more they pull away. Recognizing that love isn't proven by pursuit. It's proven by presence. Sometimes the most powerful move isn't to run after them. It's to stand still, to let them see you're not a threat, to let them feel that your love isn't about pressure, but about choice. Because choice is what their nervous system craves. Not forced closeness, but safe space. The irony is this: the less you chase, the more they can come closer. Because safety, not pursuit, is what opens the avoidant heart. And chasing, though well-intentioned, feels like anything but safety. That's why chasing never works. Because what heals them isn't your pursuit, it's your presence. It's your ability to hold steady, to love without pressure, to stay without smothering, to show, through patience, that love doesn't have to mean loss of self. Only then can the avoidant stop retreating, not because you caught them, but because they chose to stay. The hidden invitation behind withdrawal. Withdrawal looks like rejection. It feels like abandonment. It cuts like indifference. But what if it isn't? What if every retreat carries a hidden message? A silent invitation, not to chase, not to fix, but to see. When the avoidant pulls away, what they're really saying is, I don't feel safe yet. It's not, I don't care about you. It's not, you mean nothing to me. It's, my nervous system is overwhelmed. I need space to breathe. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop chasing, you create the safety they crave. Because in your stillness, they discover something rare. They discover a love that doesn't demand, a presence that doesn't pressure, a connection that doesn't consume. That's the hidden invitation. Their withdrawal is not a door slamming shut. It's a threshold, a test of safety. Will you push through it, or will you hold your ground and let them step back in on their own terms? The avoidant heart isn't cold. It's cautious. It's guarded. It's terrified of losing itself in closeness. But when they feel seen, without being chased, something begins to shift. Walls soften. Defenses lower. Distance turns into curiosity. And slowly, they inch back toward you. Not because you forced them, but because you showed them. Love doesn't have to hurt. So chasing never works. But presence does. Patience does. Consistency does. That's how you rewrite the script. That's how you end the cycle. That's how you love an avoidant without losing yourself. And if you're hearing this right now, maybe you're the one who's been caught in the cycle. Maybe you've been chasing, wondering why it always drives them away. Now you know the truth. It was never about not being enough. It was about how their nervous system interprets love, and the way forward is not to run faster. It's to stand still, because real love, the kind that lasts, isn't about chasing. It's about creating safety. And when safety is present, withdrawal is no longer needed. That's when true intimacy begins. If this spoke to you, if you felt the ache of chasing someone who only ran further away, know this: you're not alone, and you deserve love. That doesn't feel like a chase. Love that meets you halfway. Love that stays. If this helped you see this cycle more clearly, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to the Inner Odyssey for more insights into the hidden patterns that shape love, loss, and healing. Because the more we understand, the more we grow together.